Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, doston. Welcome. This is Grandmaster Srinath Narayanan. Today I'm going to take you through one of Nihal's recent victories over Grandmaster Andrew Tan, the Junior Speed Chess Championship. This was one of the games from the 3 plus 1 portion. Nihal had gained quite a bit of upper hand prior to this game. He had won the last three games on the lead up to this game. He started out with one knight of 3, e5, e3, knight of 6, c4, e6, knight c3. This was actually one of the openings that was quite often played during this match. Andrew had a bit of trouble. I believe Andrew had a bit of trouble earlier when confronting this variation. As I remember, he tried a few different things. One of that was putting the bishop on d6 and developing the light square bishop on d7. This is one of those kind of positions where one of those kind of openings where maybe white can lay claim to a very small advantage. Probably not objectively speaking, but in terms of practical play, white can get a tiny edge which he can press with. And as I remember, Nihal had a few wins here in this match before this game. So Andrew chose to play develop a little bit differently in this game. He started out with bishop e7, and after castling, he went with the pawn to c5. So here black already has the option to play d4. Maybe not immediately, but something after knight c6, uh, d4 and e5. Black would gain a little bit of space in the center. So Nihal decides to take the pawn. Andrew takes back with the knight, as understandably so. Taking with the pawn can lead to uh, a position with potentially a position with isolated queen pawn, which is not bad by itself, but uh, I think it's a question of preference. In any case, taking with the knight keeps the black pawns more connected. b2, b6, castle, bishop b7, knight b5. Pretty normal moves so far. And here black has the option to either take with the queen or the bishop. Taking with the pawn would of course go back to this pawn structure we earlier discussed, when again white may have this isolated queen pawn or the hanging pawns. In this case, I think white has a nice position. So black prefers to take with one of the pieces, and bishop d5 is quite logical. Nihal went d4, knight d7, c1, rook c8, bishop d3. And here I think Andrew had a chance to get something tactical going with bishop f3. If white takes back with the queen, here this was not working because of if knight e5, white can just take this pawn. After king h7, queen h5. So bishop f3 was not working here. So Andrew started with h6. But after queen e2, now bishop f3 was working because bishop h7 is no longer possible. And after bishop f3, white cannot capture with the queen because of knight e5. D5, queen d3 is probably not quite the position that white was aiming for from this opening. You can of course still continue with like rook d1, but okay, black just moves away the queen somewhere, and this pawn structure is perhaps a little worse than black's pawn structure because black has one more pawn on the queen side, which can help create a potential passer later on in the game. Um, White's extra pawn on the king side doesn't exactly improve his attacking chances or something, and this d file can easily be neutralized with mass exchanges with the rooks. And if white takes back with the pawn, then this is already probably not the most ideal structure that white was aiming for, and any potential attacks on the g file can probably easily be neutralized by something like cd, bishop d4, bishop f6. After which white doesn't have a lot, and Black might even be slightly better. Bishop f3, queen f3, knight e5, and if white ignores this, I mean, if white just goes back with the queen, defending the bishop, then after knight d3, queen d3, cd, I think black has completely nothing to worry about. Just an equal push. So Andrew had this chance to completely equalize here, which he probably did not spot because on the earlier move, as we saw, bishop f3, queen f3, knight e5 was met by bishop h7. So it's quite possible that he had this in his memory, something like cache, something like how browsers have this cache memory. And so after h6 queen e2, when this was actually possible, he didn't play this and instead went for rook c7. A natural move, not a bad move by itself. The game continued with rook f d1, cd, knight d4, c1. And here was probably a critical moment. Black very much holds the balance, but white still has a lot of dangerous attacking potential on the king side. And also in many cases, the c6 square can become a very weak square for black. So although this position is probably equal, it still demands quite a bit of accuracy. Here Andrew went wrong with queen a8. Instead, it was probably better to play something like knight c5 and hold this knight here. The reason for this is because the e6 pawn is quite important and vulnerable, as we'll see later in the game. So knight c5, let's say white plays something like bishop b1, and here black should be holding the balance with a5. Any threats on this diagonal can be neutralized with something like f5. This position is probably, it may not be completely equal in practical terms, but with accurate play, black should be holding the balance. There are also options to play queen e8, bishop e4, and once these dangerous bishops are neutralized, black will have nothing to worry about. This also covers the c6 square adequately. The queen side is also well protected. Instead, Andrew played queen a8, which again looks like a normal move. But the problem here is after e4, bishop b7, this gives rise to all kinds of attacking possibilities for white on the king side. There's the options with knight e6, and this knight e6 can be done either, it probably cannot be done directly because knight e6, f e6, queen g4 is simply met by rook f7. Therefore, it was important for Nihal to start with rook c7, and only after rook d8. Here I remember Nihal had something like 1.5 minutes and he almost spent a whole minute calculating knight e6 to the end. Here knight e6 comes with devastating force because after knight e6, f e6, queen g4, black no longer has this rook f7 defense which we saw earlier in this variation. And therefore rook c7 was a very important move, bringing the rook out, and black really didn't have much options other than rook d8 because moving this knight with something like knight c5 just loses this piece, and any other way of defense, he cannot move the queen because this bishop would hang, and any other defense like bishop c8 would also still probably be met with knight e6, f e6, queen g4, f7, and now white can even take this pawn with a huge advantage. Black probably should lose the threats like bishop c4 in that. So rook c7 was pretty important, and after rook d8, knight e6, black is just defenseless against white's numerous threats. Fe, queen g4, and I remember Andrew went into a long think either after knight e6 or after this queen g4 move. He played bishop f8, but it's already quite difficult to suggest a good defense for black. After queen e6 check, king h7, black might get some chances to come back into the game if white plays something like rook d7, queen d7, taking back the piece. Black takes back bishop e4. Here, white is a pawn up and is probably winning, but these positions can be defended, and especially in faster time controls, in quite a few cases, black can manage to save himself. But Hal was quite accurate, didn't give any chances for his opponent. Continued on with queen f5. The king moves, and now e5. And white threatens queen h7 mate. Something like bishop e4 wouldn't really help black so much, because after bishop e4, maybe there are some back rank tricks with knight f6, but here white can just move this bishop and cover the d1 square with like bishop f3 or bishop c2, and black should be mated. After e5, if black plays something like king g8, then queen h7 check, king f7, 6 check, king e6, queen g6 check is mating black. Next move, whatever black plays is going to be a mate. Knight f6, queen f5, and queen e5 mates. And if black just moves the king to e7, bishop a3 is mate. If black plays king d5, bishop c4 or bishop e4 mates. Probably the players didn't see all these things, but it's pretty clear that there should be a mate one way or another. So this was one of the uh, most accurate games played in this match, and Tang's only mistake was probably this queen a8, which actually looks like a innocent and normal move. If black had one more move to cover this e6 pawn, black should be totally fine. But he just didn't have this tempo, and Nihal took his chance as soon as he got it. It was also probably a better idea to have taken bishop f3 at this point. This was another critical moment. But it's extremely normal to miss such things in faster time control. So overall, high quality game by Nihal, and a high quality play by him in the match as well. Yeah. So thank you, and see you soon.